He looked at his own soul with a telescope. What seemed all irregular, he saw and showed to be beautiful constellations. And he added to the consciousness hidden worlds within worlds. Samuel Taylor Coleridge, Notebooks. Have you ever felt it? That gnawing sensation, that subtle tremor of anxiety that hits you right before you make a decision, say something, or even just exist in a way that might not earn a round of applause. It's the fear of disapproval, the fear of being judged, of being less than perfect in the eyes of others. We've all been there, haven't we? Twisting ourselves into knots, meticulously curating our words and actions, all for the sake of that elusive, fragile thing we call acceptance. We spend so much of our lives, sometimes unknowingly, performing. We perform for our parents, our friends, our colleagues, even for strangers on social media. We chase likes, comments, promotions, validation, all external metrics that promise to fill an internal void. But here's the unsettling truth. This chase is a trap. It's a gilded cage, built not by external forces, but by our own desperate need for approval. We become puppets, our strings pulled by the imagined opinions of an invisible audience. And when we finally do get that fleeting validation, how long does it last? A moment? An hour? Before the doubt creeps back in, demanding another performance. It's an exhausting, unending cycle. Now, imagine a different way. Imagine a life where your worth isn't dictated by applause or criticism. A life where your choices are truly your own, guided by an inner compass, not external whispers. This isn't just some utopian fantasy. It's a radical, liberating philosophy championed by Alfred Adler, a contemporary of Freud and Jung, whose ideas, though often overshadowed, offer perhaps the most direct path to true personal freedom. Adler cut through the complexities of the human psyche with a directness that can be both jarring and incredibly empowering. He believed that our problems aren't rooted in past traumas, in the way Freud suggested, or in collective unconscious archetypes like Jung explored, but rather in our present goals and our interpretations of life. And central to his philosophy is a concept that sounds almost counterintuitive at first: the courage to be disliked. Adler's philosophy, often overlooked in mainstream discussions, is in many ways an antidote to the modern epidemic of anxiety and self-doubt. He argued that all human behavior is goal-oriented, and often our deepest, most insidious goal is to avoid being disliked. We seek to please, to conform, to be seen as good, because we believe that acceptance is the key to happiness. But this pursuit, ironically, makes us profoundly unhappy. Why? Because true happiness, according to Adler, isn't found in external validation, but in contribution and community feeling. In the knowledge that we are valuable for who we are, not for what we achieve or how much we are loved by others. And this radical idea, this courage to be disliked, is the linchpin. Let's break this down. The courage to be disliked isn't about actively trying to be hated or intentionally antagonizing people. That's just provocative and often immature. Instead, it's about freeing yourself from the burden of needing everyone's approval. It's about understanding that what others think of you is their business, not yours. Your business is to live authentically, to pursue your values, and to contribute to the world in your own unique way. When you internalize this, a profound shift occurs. The chains of external expectation begin to loosen. You stop second-guessing yourself, you stop censoring your true thoughts, and you start living for yourself. Think about it this way. How many times have you said yes when you desperately wanted to say no? How often have you stayed silent when you had a valuable insight to share, simply because you feared being seen as arrogant or contrarian? These aren't just minor inconveniences. They are tiny betrayals of yourself. Each yes that should have been a no erodes your authenticity. Each suppressed thought diminishes your voice. Over time, these small acts of self-abandonment accumulate, leading to a sense of resentment, unfulfillment, and often a pervasive feeling that you're living someone else's life. Adler would argue that this is precisely where our problems lie. We become so entangled in interpersonal tasks, how we are perceived by others, that we forget our true life tasks, work, friendship, and love. He posited that all our problems are interpersonal problems. Even a feeling of inferiority isn't really about us being inferior. It's about our perception of how we measure up against others, or how we believe others perceive us. The solution isn't to become superior, but to dissolve the need for comparison altogether. To understand that our value is inherent, not comparative. Let's take a common scenario. You have an idea at work. It's innovative, maybe a little unconventional, and you know it could genuinely help the company. But the thought of presenting it, of potentially facing skepticism, or even outright rejection, paralyzes you. You imagine your boss's furrowed brow, your colleagues' dismissive glances. So, you keep it to yourself. You silence your own insight, not because the idea is bad, but because the fear of disapproval is stronger than your desire to contribute. This isn't just a missed opportunity for your career. It's a profound self-betrayal, a concession to the tyranny of external opinion. Adler would say, your problem is that you are seeking recognition, and the solution: separate your tasks. This is a crucial concept in Adlerian psychology. Your task is to present your idea clearly and confidently. The outcome, whether they accept it, reject it, or ridicule it, is their task. It has nothing to do with your inherent worth. When you understand this distinction, the pressure dissipates. You speak your truth not for approval, but because it is your truth. And in doing so, you paradoxically become far more influential, far more authentic, and ultimately, far happier. Think of a common family dynamic. A child is constantly trying to please their parents, getting good grades, joining clubs they don't enjoy, all to earn a pat on the head or a proud smile. The parent's task is to raise and guide their child. The child's task is to grow and learn. But when the child makes the parent's approval their primary task, they lose themselves. They become a reflection of their parents' desires, not their own. And when they inevitably fall short of those often unspoken expectations, they experience profound self-doubt and anxiety. Adler would urge both parties to understand the separation of tasks. The child must have the courage to pursue their own interests, even if it means disappointing their parents occasionally. And the parents must have the courage to allow their child to forge their own path, even if it means letting go of their own projections and desires for their child. This is radical responsibility. It means taking full ownership of your emotions and your reactions. If someone insults you, your reaction is your task. You can choose to be offended, or you can choose to let it pass. If someone dislikes you for being yourself, their dislike is their task. It says more about them than it does about you. This doesn't mean being callous or uncaring, but it means cultivating a robust inner self that isn't swayed by every gust of external opinion. It's about recognizing that true freedom comes from within, from the liberation of your own mind. Adler's ideas are profoundly democratic. He believed in the inherent equality of all individuals. This means no one is superior or inferior. We are all simply different. And in this difference lies our strength. When we stop trying to be better than, or as good as someone else, we free up immense energy that can be channeled into genuine growth and contribution. Imagine a world where people are driven not by competitive envy, but by a desire to contribute their unique talents to the common good. That's the vision Adler offers, and it begins with the courage to walk your own path, even if it means being misunderstood or, yes, even disliked. So, how do we cultivate this courage? It starts with awareness. Start noticing how often you make decisions based on what you think others want, rather than what you truly desire. Catch yourself before you censor your thoughts or suppress your feelings. Then, take small steps. Express an unpopular opinion respectfully. Say no to an invitation you don't genuinely want to accept. Wear what makes you feel good, even if it's not the latest trend. Each small act of defiance against the tyranny of approval is a step towards liberation. It's not easy. The habit of seeking approval is deeply ingrained, often from childhood. We've been conditioned to believe that conformity equals safety and dissent equals danger. But Adler challenges this fundamental assumption. He tells us that the greatest danger lies not in being disliked, but in losing ourselves in the desperate pursuit of being liked. He says that true belonging doesn't come from blending in, but from standing out authentically, from offering your true self to the world. And here's the beautiful paradox. When you stop chasing approval, when you have the courage to be disliked, you often find that you are more respected, more admired, and you attract people who genuinely appreciate you for who you are. The superficial connections built on pleasing others crumble, making space for deep, authentic relationships built on mutual respect and genuine understanding. These are the relationships that truly nourish the soul, relationships where you can be your full, unedited self, knowing that your imperfections are not only tolerated, but celebrated. This philosophy isn't just about personal growth. It has profound implications for society. If more individuals embraced their radical responsibility, if they cultivated the courage to be disliked, imagine the shift. We would have fewer people blindly following trends, fewer succumbing to peer pressure, fewer sacrificing their integrity for the sake of popularity. We would have more independent thinkers, more creative problem solvers, and a society built on genuine contribution rather than superficial popularity contests. It's a vision of humanity empowered, liberated, and truly thriving. The journey to radical responsibility and the courage to be disliked is not a linear one. There will be moments of doubt, moments when the old fear of judgment creeps back in. But at each time you choose authenticity over approval, each time you separate your tasks, you strengthen that inner muscle. You begin to trust yourself more deeply. You begin to realize that the most profound freedom isn't found in being liked by everyone, but in being true to yourself, even if it means some people won't understand or won't approve. In Jung's The Undiscovered Self, he spoke about the importance of the individual standing against the mass psychology. While Jung focused on the archetype, Adler gives us a practical guide, almost a manual, for achieving that individuality. He reminds us that our true battle isn't with external forces, but with our own internal need for validation. It's the battle to claim our own lives, to be the author of our own story, regardless of the audience's reception. So, if you've ever felt the weight of others' expectations, if you've ever silenced your own voice for fear of disapproval, remember Adler. Remember the courage to be disliked. It's not an invitation to isolation, but a gateway to genuine connection. It's not about being uncaring, but about caring for yourself enough to be authentically you. It's the ultimate act of self-love, and the most powerful step you can take towards a life of true freedom and profound fulfillment. What do you think? Have you experienced the freedom of embracing unpopular opinions? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this resonated with you, give it a like and subscribe for more deep dives into the human psyche.